clear things up for myself, at least.
Elizabeth Thomson, Maggie's Farm became very big in Britain.
In 1979, when we had Margaret Thatcher as Prime Minister, she was there for a long time. Maggie's Farm did acquire a special symphony. And I remember in 1978 at Blackbush, which was a big outdoor event in England at the end of his UK tour, he did Maggie's Farm, and it was clear then that, you know, we were going to be living on Maggie's Farm very soon, which we were, and it was there was a cartoon strip for a while called Maggie's Farm, I think.
Maggie Thatcher.
Yes.
Talk about his early politics, Bob Dylan's early politics.
Well, I imagine his parents must have been very amazed to hear these songs that he wrote. But I mean, he blew into New York in the early days of the '60s, when things were going from sort of Eisenhower black and white into Kennedy Technicolor, I suppose, and began writing all these amazing songs. I mean, Masters of War, With God on Our Side, Hard Rains Are Gonna Fall, allegedly written as the Cuban Missile Crisis unfolded. I mean, extraordinary songs which are timeless. I mean, With God on Our Side has had, you know, a life at the Iraq War as it had in Vietnam, during the time of Vietnam. And because they were fantastic songs, a lot of people, including obviously his one-time good friend Joan Baez, wanted him to carry the torch and to be the leader of the movement. And one thing's very clear when you read Shelton's book is that he didn't want to be the leader of the movement, but he was also very frightened by the pressure that came with, you know, being the Messiah, the spokesman of the generation. But he just wrote these, I mean, they remain extraordinary songs. I don't think anyone's ever written anything that even comes close to the quality and the timelessness of things like With God on Our Side and Times They Are Changing and Blowing in the Wind.
Well, Bob Dylan appeared on your show, Bob Fass, Late Night Radio, Radio Unnameable, several times, and would often take calls from callers, because that's your show. Callers holding forth, you holding forth. This is an excerpt of the show from 1966, when a caller criticized Bob Dylan for not continuing to write more explicitly anti-war songs.
Well, no, I'm not asking you to be a Phil Oakes, you know, but like God on Our Side.
Yeah.
Or Message of War. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, God, you know, With God on Your Side is contained in, like, you know, like 2 lines of something like Desolation Row.
Yeah, right.
The whole song is in there. I mean, it's you know, in 2 lines. I mean, if you can't pick it out, single it out, that's not my problem.
What I'm saying is, like it's a lot more subtle there. I think it is.
What's more subtle? Wait a minute. Which one is more? Do you think is more subtle?
Pardon?
Which one do you think is more subtle?
Something like Desolation Row.
It's not more subtle. It's just more to the point. It's just more. It doesn't spare you any time to, you know, to string anything together. It is all together. It doesn't pretend like it has to do anything. That's all.
Yeah, well,
hey, I don't know. I can't talk about what I do.
Well, no. Well, think like the first.
I don't do it. That's all.
You're not, you know, doing something now. I mean, you know, about it.
About what?
Well, okay, yeah. There's very little anybody can do about it. Okay, let's say take the war. Okay, there's very little anybody can do about it.
So what can anybody do about it? It's a war. It's a war.
Yeah, but you know something.
Hey, wars have been around for a long time. What makes you think this time is any special?
But guys are dying now.
Of course, guys are dying. Guys have always died.
And it just seems like, you know, a couple of years back.
No, it's not. You know, it's not my doings. I really do all these things. I'm not like you. I'm very tied up in a lot of other daily exercises, and my mind does not work thinking about the troubles of the world. I mean, like, it's, you know, who am I to think about to carry the world on my shoulders?
Excerpt of Bob Fass's show, Radio Unnameable, in 1966. Bob Dylan being taken on for not singing more about the Vietnam War. Bob, you remember that show?
Yes, I do. I also have something to say about Maggie's Farm. It's very important to me right at this moment for a lot of reasons I don't need to go into. And it's also important to me in many different ways in the past. For instance, around the first time I met him, when I heard the song, I knew immediately that it wasn't referring to a farm, in my mind anyway, but it was referring to a kind of tape recorder called a magnetoscope or a magnetophone that I can tell you more things about that, but you'll have to ask me. I'll go on. It was owned by John Hammond Sr., who looms large in his legend. And,
explain quickly who John Hammond is.
Well, he was the man who first recorded Bob Dylan and many other very important people who were, when he discovered them, completely unrepresented in major recordings and in the major mainstream popular culture. He was brilliant, and his son is a brilliant folk singer, and who has all of those other, John Hammond Jr. As well. Again, I have a tendency now to tell you too much.
So talk also about Vietnam and Bob Dylan.
Well, from almost the first minute that we went to demonstrations about Vietnam, other people that had known him or knew him were trying to pull his coattail about, you know, singing some kind of a song. And the best that anyone could ever get from him is, yeah, I know about that. I already wrote about it. Look through my stuff, see what you can find. I'm not even sure if that came directly from him, because he never said it to me. But one of the many, even then, Dylan imitators who called me on the phone, whose faces I didn't see, said, let's hear Maggie's Farm. And, you know, sometimes I was tired of it, and other times I was really glad to hear it. And more about that some other time.
Well, let's go to a break, and then we will come back. Today, Bob Dylan turns 70. Stay with us.